Hey you, yes you. Did you ever tell your goth friend that Halloween wasn't your favorite holiday, so they held you at gunpoint in a random abandoned building? Do you need a completely objective ranking on the internet made by a totally trustworthy deranged monster in a suit? Well, you're in luck! This, my friends, is the holiday ranking extravaganza. I have spent hours calculating holiday specials, studying decoration styles, to rank the holidays of the year onto a list of merit and end this discussion once and for all. But alas, chaos cannot create. We need to discuss our rules. Each holiday will be covered according to its place on the calendar and will be ranked from 1 to 10 and placed on our little list here. The holidays will be given points based on how much they break the monotony of day-to-day life, how much stuff you can get out of them, days you get off for them, how much influence they have over their month and beyond, and how distinct they are from other holidays. Points are deducted from failure to reach these requirements, as well as causing negative emotion, strife, and bodily harm or death. Yes, that last part will come into play more than once. We will be viewing the holidays from a completely materialistic and secular standpoint. All personal qualities like memories, importance to a certain group, or religious themes will not be considered. I really can't put a score and rank on such subjective spiritual stuff like that. From this point onwards, pretend I don't have a soul. This will also be done from a Western American standpoint, because that's all I know festivity-wise. I'm getting to that! Unfortunately, a good amount of holidays cannot be ranked because of this. Holidays I have no in-person experience with, holidays that are so tied to religion that they cannot be removed from it. Christmas, Easter, and St. Patrick's Day don't count, we'll get to that. And holidays that would piss a lot of people off if I ranked them in my soulless manner will not be included on this list. This includes, but is not limited to, Cinco de Mayo, Canada Day, Mardi Gras, Chinese New Year, Hanukkah, Good Friday, Ramadan, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and Juneteenth. Are you happy, you monochrome hippie? Certain things will not be on this list because I don't consider them holidays. These are birthdays, summer vacation, lame garbage like National Talk Like a Pirate Day, awareness months, and more specific cases like Christmas in July and Opposite Day. SpongeBob will burn in hell for his sins. Eves will not be considered as independent holidays, but rather extensions of the holiday they foretell. For example, Christmas Eve and its pros and cons will be added to Christmas on this list. And with these regulations out of the way, let us begin our scrutiny in February, because there is literally nothing to cover in January. The first holiday we shall cover is Valentine's Day. This holiday is perpetually trapped in mediocrity. It has its own unique aesthetic with hearts and cupids. That's its only strong suit. You don't get a day off, and unless you get invited to some party, none of the festivities apply unless you're in a couple. There is one exclusive foodstuff. One. And that's those infernal hearts in the raisin boxes. They aren't even good enough to be candy. It's just chalk and carcinogens.
I like that candy.
All in all, it's not bad, but it sure can't compete with other holidays of similar size on the list. Just make sure to take your hot date to a seafood restaurant so you can get crabs in more ways than one. 6 out of 10. Next in line is President's Day. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Whether or not you get off of work is a coin flip unless you work in the government. There's no parties. There's no special candy, just a parade or two. The only reason I'm not disappointed is because I had no standards to begin with. Insert Donald Trump joke here. 4 out of 10. The only holiday in March on this list is St. Patrick's Day. This holiday is a bizarre case. Over the past couple of 100 years, it was split into 3 miniature events. The first is a religious mass dedicated to St. Patrick. The second form is a day meant for Irish immigrants to commemorate their heritage, and the third is the wearing green, leprechauns and drinking booze stuff non-Irish people do. Unfortunately, I can only judge the third one, for it is the only one I've experienced and isn't religious. Irish people, have mercy on my soul! It has its own aesthetic that dominates March until the holiday passes. Massive parades are held throughout major U.S. cities, and Chicago dyes their entire river green. This has more stuff going on than Valentine's Day ever will. But there's one small issue. There's no event that ties it all together. There's no presents under the tree or Easter egg hunts. It just sort of blows over. It may be the best thing we've seen so far, but it is no match for what is in store. For some reason, I've never tried the Shamrock Shake. 6.5 out of 10. At the beginning of the packed month of April, we have April Fool's Day. This is the only joke that doesn't make me laugh. You're supposed to play pranks on people, but no one does anything. And I don't need a holiday to justify pulling a prank either. I am up to mischief at all hours of the day. Having a holiday dedicated to it only puts people on guard. There is only one holiday special I can name off the top of my head for this, and Squidward was a prick in it. 2 out of 10. The strongest holiday we've seen that exists outside of the fall-winter cluster arrives as Easter. For those concerned in the audience, this holiday bypasses the no religious holidays rule because of how secularized it has become in modern times. Influential enough to be considered a parallel to Christmas, Easter is filled with its own aesthetic, exclusive candy with chocolate bunnies, and its own special event to tie things together with the Easter egg hunt. The thing that makes Easter unique is the fact that it has its own mascot with the Easter bunny, something only one other holiday has. This holiday is truly massive, to the point even the White House celebrates it, but the Achilles heel is that it does not hold up with age. You can only go on egg hunts for so long before security kicks you out. 8 out of 10. After Easter comes April's second powerless mockery, Earth Day. The only reason it isn't sitting in the rejects corner of National Donut Day is because my school made me watch a video for it when I was in elementary. It tries, and I use that word very generously, to raise awareness for recycling and caring for the environment. And judging by how the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is still a thing, it didn't work. It has no control over its own day. Nothing happens for it past 5th grade, and it fails to do its one specific job. An absolute embarrassment to holidays everywhere. And if you're gonna remember one thing from this video, it better be this. Recycling can't save you, but guillotines will. 0 out of 10. And with May and June comes Mother's and Father's Day. There are 2 sides of the same coin, and there aren't any holidays between them, so they get the same spot. You have to buy your parent a gift, and you might go out to a restaurant. Might be special if you have a child or special connection with your parents, but remember, I don't have a soul. No days off unless you get maternity leave or something. Have unprotected sex. 4 out of 10. 4th of July draws near as the largest holiday of the summer. There's a chance of getting a day off, and it happens during summer break, so school isn't a factor. The cookouts are great, it has no exclusive foods, but it really doesn't need any. But it doesn't have as much hold over the days around it, although it does use Americana as an aesthetic. All in all, it's a fun holiday, but the fireworks are the main attraction to cause the death and injury rule to kick in. Remember, when you're looking at the wondrous flowers painted in the sky with embers and beams of light, that is someone's last day with a thumb. 7 out of 10. Skipping over August because nothing happens, we have Labor Day in September. It's basic, yet well-rounded. While other holidays flip-flop on being days off, Labor Day is a guaranteed paid free day no matter what state you're in. The days off apply to both school and work, so it will always be by your side no matter what. Trusty and reliable, but there's nothing special either. 5 out of 10. As Persephone descends back to Hades' grasp, plunging the mighty trees into slumber and embittering the winds with cold, the most recognizable holiday of the fall comes to welcome us into a world of frost. Columbus Day. I never got out of school for this while every other school in the city did, and that will piss me off forever. There's 0 decorations, and only 5 towns have a parade. It started at least one race war between Native Americans and Italian immigrants. I have to mention it for point's sake, but I would not touch that with a 10-foot pole. Christopher Columbus was also a gold-obsessed maniac as described by Bartolomé de las Casas. Leif Erikson solos. 1 out of 10. At the end of October, the end of our journey draws near. The fall-winter holiday conglomerate arrives with its first bastion, Halloween. One of the most recognizable of all holidays, Halloween is brimming with flair that dominates October, that manifests in the forms of orange and black color schemes, miscellaneous horror media, and exclusive candy in the form of candy corn, which I love. Sue me! I really gotta quit throwing that word around, man. There's also the surplus of candy in stores that's put on sales the day after the double-edged sword that ties the holiday together. Trick-or-treating. This is amazing when you're a kid, because being able to get an entire bucket's worth of free candy, that's like manna falling from heaven to a child. The deal breaker, though, is that it only applies when you're a child.
But I go trick-or-treating, and I'm an adult.
Yeah, and you can't be allowed within 100 feet of a playground. And although trick-or-treat candy being poisoned is a myth, the death and injury rule still kicks in again, with child fatality rates and motor accidents doubling on Halloween specifically. If you're an adult, there are Halloween parties, but there is a huge chance your partner will cheat on you there, so unless you're single, it is not worth it. As my haunted thesis, Halloween has a ton of presentation, but nothing to present, like spending $1 million on advertising for a cardboard cutout. Spirit Halloween taking over bankrupted businesses like a plague is the scariest part of it. 8.5 out of 10. And with the beginning of November, a truly scary holiday begins. Election Day. This is the anti-holiday. It is only considered a federal holiday in certain states, and that's the only reason it's on this list. But it's only so you can do something just as boring as work. Instead of bringing people together, it only plunges the US closer to complete anarchy. Instead of fun specials on TV, it's Tucker Carlson having a stroke over green M&Ms. Instead of dazzling lights and holiday cheer, it's 2 senile old men pissing themselves in front of the world stage and proving that the American experiment has failed. Absolutely no fun to be gained. This is the only holiday I truly hate. For even if it is a civic duty, having to vote for 2 racist white men every 4 years will get us nowhere. Even if you don't do politics, politics will do you. There's no escape from career politician stagnation. -1 out of 10. Awaiting in the murky, bloody sea of primordial chaos that is late November is the fallen warrior known as Thanksgiving. Many moons ago, it once dominated November with fall leaves in colonial iconography, but those days are dead with the rest of our tomorrows. It has lost all of its influence to Christmas, and it exposes an open wound gushing with the blood of all holiday integrity as a result. And it wrecks Thanksgiving's rating. But we will get into the significance of that soon. Most of November is lost, but the day is almost intact as a final arbiter. The Thanksgiving feast that brings the family together for exclusive food that's only eaten at Thanksgiving, with turkey, cranberry sauce, stuffing, and pumpkin pie, and wasps and bionicle pieces and white people. In conclusion, Thanksgiving is a great holiday, but having a dinner isn't enough to save you from being overshadowed by Christmas in every conceivable way. Oh golly gee, I almost forgot about the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. I wonder what the finale for that is. It's Santa. I hope you die. 8 out of 10. I love consumerism! I love watering down every piece of culture we have! I have a dollar bill for a tie! And speaking of money, our next holiday is Black Friday! It's Cyber Monday, they're the same thing, so might as well lump them together. The main point of Black Friday is that the retail stores all sacrifice their employees to Yog-Shoggoth to make the greatest sales event of the year. You can get crock pots for $20. When else are you gonna buy one? Christmas has a habit of completely stomping other holidays into the mud, but Black Friday has developed a symbiotic relationship with it. Most Christmas presents are bought on Black Friday, so that sort of resilience gives Black Friday extra points. All in all, it's shopping, but that gives us a problem. With great prices comes great parking lot shootings. This fateful date has more blood on its hands than any other, with over 10 deaths and over 100 injuries as of 2022. The red outweighs the green. Researching that was hell on earth, so you better appreciate it. 3 out of 10. Now, with the year drawing its final breaths, and all its achievements and follies being banished to the realm of memory, the climax of the year has come. Christmas, the season of getting. This holiday is a combination of every holiday before it. It has the mascot gimmick of Easter, the food of Thanksgiving, and the atmosphere of Halloween. And it has a grand finale with gift giving to give it all structure. It does age somewhat, with Santa Claus not being real being a source of childhood trauma, and the realization that you actually have to buy things for other people instead of just getting free stuff. All this aside, it is still enjoyable as an adult, unless you work in retail. In that case, Christmas's temporal geography gives it the benefit of having an entire year and 2 massive holidays in the fall and winter building up suspense for it. That combined with it being marketed as the jolliest time of the year gives Christmas a grandness to it that no other holiday has. But all of that, my friend, was table scraps. Let's talk about what puts Christmas above the competition. Let's talk about what makes Christmas truly the pinnacle of the year. The scale. You know that whole Christmas is every holiday combined thing? Well, it takes each good part from the holidays and multiplies it by 10. You got the Easter Bunny, here's Santa Claus, and 50 reindeer. You have a Thanksgiving special, here's millions of Christmas movies you're never going to finish. You get the point. And then there's the money to purchase it all. This is the CIC, Christmas Industrial Complex. During the year of 2022 alone, with all festivities such as decorations and gifts combined, people spent $889 billion on Christmas, dwarfing Halloween's $10 billion. That is enough cold hard cash to fund a small war. And I have a dollar bill for a tie, so you know that means something to me. The raw scale of how much stuff Christmas has to offer that dwarfs any other holiday is what takes it to stardom. But do not be fooled, this sword is double-edged. Christmas, with its $889 billion, is very profitable, as you can tell. So corporations have been pushing the limits with how soon they can start selling Christmas stuff. We touched on this with Thanksgiving earlier, which is one of the biggest victims of this phenomenon. But Christmas isn't some mustache-twirling villain. It is a victim of its own, becoming oversaturated by the will of corporations, and because too much of a good thing is a bad thing, it threatens the very integrity of the holiday. It hasn't made it unbearable yet, unless you're in retail once again, and thus won't have that big of an effect on its rating, but it could cost Christmas its very throne in the future. With all of this in mind, both good and bad, Christmas still triumphs over everything on this list, with a grandiose 10 out of 10. And with the climax of the year long past us, it is time for the resolution. New Year's. In my notes I prepared for the script of this video, I clowned on this day for not being as big as Christmas and Halloween, and planned on using it as an example of Christmas completely robbing a holiday of its substance. But looking at it now, that's not the point. New Year's is a final touch upon an almost finished painting. Just like Christmas was a combination of everything, New Year's is a look back on it all. A final look back on your past as you enter the unknowable future, for better or for worse. A period of reflection to see what you can do better in the future. This is the final act, and it doesn't need a whole month of decorations or mascots to get that point across. Still gonna give it a bad rating though, 7 out of 10! And here we are, boys and girls. Here is my completed chart in all of its glory. Our journey is over, and with it, I have no reason to continue my soulless outlook on these events. The point of this video was to play around with a fun concept. Do not let this distract you from what holidays are truly about. Spending time with family and friends amidst the chaos of life, and giving thanks for it. Something truly subjective that fits on no tier list. This is the final message I leave you, dear viewer. Happy holidays, and goodbye.
He really left like that. Son of a